What's going on, guys? Woo! It is the Bad Wolf. Once again, I thank you guys for joining in. All right, we're doing some late night recordings here. And as always, we're going to try to make it fun, interesting, and a wild, wolfy time. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the gold fringes on the flag. So the gold fringes has always been a curiosity of mine. And it first started when I was in Boy Scouts and became an Eagle Scout. And before I became an Eagle Scout, my Scoutmaster was in the military. And he was the reason why I got put on this path in the first place. Because I would notice he would never salute the gold fringed flag. Now, I didn't even really know what to call it other than the pretty flag, because it's, well, pretty. And one day I decided if I see him passing that gold fringed flag, because I mean, in Boy Scouts, I still have my books around here somewhere about it. They teach you all about that, but they never mention that specific flag. And so when I seen him pass by it a couple times, which he told me, always as a Boy Scout, you stop and salute that flag, but never the gold fringed one. So one day, a diabolical young pup wolf boy, I was like, let us begin the experiment. I said, I'm going to see what he does if I salute that flag in front of him. This is a true story. So, sorry, the wolf ears. And sometimes the fur on him itches. I was like, I'm going to salute this flag in front of him and see what he does. So I purposely run in front of him and I salute the flag. He doesn't see me. So I said, Mr. Brody, I was like, hey, with a little authority in my voice, the flag, turn back around. He loses his vertical, his control. Don't salute that flag. That's the corporate flag of the federal government. It is not American. They are in DC. That is not one of the 50 states. He went off. You'd think I'd kicked his grandmother and punched his dog or something. After he slightly started to calm down, I said, hey, look, why are you yelling at me? I don't understand what you're talking about. So he proceeded to tell me and show me the Boy Scout handbook where that flag is not mentioned in there, and that under the Title 4 of the description of the flag, it is also not mentioned as being anything but red, white, and blue, red and white stripes, 13 alternating, blue background, 50 white stars, and these exact dimensions. Now, what some of you guys may not understand is that the law works in such a weird way is that if it's not mentioned specifically to the detail of the event, thing, or person, it is something outside of that. This is why they continue to add so many new rules, laws, statutes, and codes every year, because they want to diagnose every single thing. If it's not mentioned specifically, then it is something else. So if the Title 4 flag does not mention the color gold or fringes on only 3 sides of the flag, then what is it? Well, according to him, that flag represents maritime admiralty jurisdiction, essentially military, operated and owned and controlled by the federal government through the United States Corporation and those entities and or others, old European money and families, who then own and control it from above. So I found out that there was an executive order that made the gold fringe flag legal. Now, the original flag though we should be technically having the peace flag right now for us as civilians or non-military or private persons, the Republic for America. But the corporation is running things, and so we're using the corporate flag to represent America. Though really, the Republic flag of each state, the private side, not the corporate flag, is what we should all be flying. And then if you have your own nation, your own tribe, or whatever else, you should be flying that. Okay, so the American flag is the one that brings us all together, but we should also have our own private, non-corporate flags. Matter of fact, future me, remember, or technically past me, or whenever I see this again, make your nation flag and fly it at your place of domicile. Okay. One of the first things any of the militaries or any of the military industrial complex does when they create a new ally and they allow them to put a base there is they put up their flag. So flags mean everything. This is something from antiquity. Why do we still do this? It's customary to do it. We don't have to do it anymore, but it's customary. We're going to get to that. We're going to come back to that in a moment. So most places you see or people you talk to, they're going to say, well, that's just a pretty flag. It's decorative. And I will have to agree. They are, in fact, right. The problem is proving the maritime jurisdiction. Now, we know that the Army and these various other organizations do rock the flag with the gold fringes on it. Now, some people say that there's a double meaning there. To have fringes on the flag means you are infringing upon my rights. You're infringing upon my country. You're so close to me, you're making me uncomfortable. And that's exactly what the gold fringes are doing to our American flag. Now, really, that should be looked at as an attack or a violation of the American flag, such as like not, you can't burn it. You're not supposed to let it touch the ground. These other things that also are included by law and in the Boy Scout manual. But because of the executive order, it is accepted as a legal flag, essentially a legal flag. So you're saying it's a public flag and it's corporate. Now, we know it to be the corporate flag of the United States Corporation, which we know that because of certain rulings in the Supreme Court that the corporation known as the United States is distinct and foreign in relationship to the United States of America. So we know that these are two separate things. So what they do is they represent through their corporation in that particular flag, the United States of America, and act on its behalf, but they themselves are not actually American. Neither is the District of Columbia. They're not one of the 50 states, though they are looked at as a territory, meaning that they are allies or under our protection, essentially with us, but they can do their own thing. Yeah, it gets complicated. So let's take a look at the official breakdown. Now this is an excerpt taken from official places, but this site itself is not an official place. But let's take a look at what they have going on here. So let me cue the page. One moment. We've got like 1,800 gajillion tabs open, so I apologize for that. Okay, there we go. And hopefully everybody is doing good. We're just going to take 2 seconds here, take a breather. Sometimes you guys just have to chill out, man, and let all the stress go, all right? Stop all the hate, stop all the negative music, negative TV shows and things that are, that are aggravating and in a cumulative effect, messing with your psyche, your energy. If you got problems with your family, And Lord knows I've got some interesting people in mind. They are not worthy of your hate. There's people out there right now who don't care for me for their reasons. Well, most of them I think are frankly just stupid. Some of them are toxic. Some of them have become toxic by previous relationships or people or whatever else, but I hold no animosity. Let it go. Life is short. It should be filled with good people, enjoying each other, agree to disagree. Let it go. You don't have to go knock on the door and say, hey, I forgive you. If you do, that's even better. It's actually quite impressive. It takes a stronger person to do that. I've been built that way sometimes, but not with everybody and everything. But let it go for you. Okay? Now, let's get back to the video. All right, so share screen. Shazam, Shazam. Okay. So credit goes out to Army Study Guide for pulling down this official information that they have here on there. So this is a non-government, private sponsored website. So about the gold fringe on the American flag. Now see how they say this. They separated not the gold fringe American flag, but the gold fringe on the American flag. So it says here, gold fringe is used on the national flag as an honorable enrichment only. Honorable enrichment only. So they're saying an honorary enrichment, a moment to just enrich it or to make it pretty, to bedazzle you. See, the thing is that when you add something to anything, it becomes legally a new and separate entity. When that happens, that has to be recognized. So here they're just trying to say that it is an honorable enrichment only, but we'll explain what this really means later on. I promise you I will bring it all together. We always have to read what they say, and then you have to learn to read what they're either not saying or what they're trying to hide. It is not regarded as an integral part of the flag, and its use, so having it on there, does not constitute an unauthorized addition. That's because they made an executive order recognizing it. So it is authorized. So it's an authorized addition to the design prescribed by the statutes, because under the Title IV, so here they're saying statutes, but notice they didn't say Title IV. So there's information, there's statutes on the flag, but the official documentation of the flag and what it's supposed to look like, you can find on Cornell Law EDU under Title IV for the flag. Records of the Department of Army. Oh, now we know the Army is maritime. Maritime and admiralty, meaning military. So here's where they start to show the pieces. So records of the Department of the Army indicate that fringe was used on the national flag as early as 1835. I wonder what occurred in 1835. We should probably look that up sometime. Maybe we'll look it up during this video. And its official use by the Army, once again, so the Army used this. Nobody else was using this. The Army, for some reason, started using this then. Dates from 1895. So they used this for 60 years back then, and nobody questioned it. Okay. So here it says, there is no record of an act of Congress or executive order which either prescribes or prohibits the addition of the fringe. Now let's take a look here. So they're saying there's no executive order which prescribes, and this says pre, doesn't say describe, or prohibits the addition of the flag. So yeah, there's no law that says you can't do that exactly to this in their, but see, here's the problem. The law does state that you cannot mutilate or change the flag. Adding the fringes does in fact change the flag. So this is here's a prime example of how the left hand doesn't see what the right hand is doing. This has never been brought to Congress's attention, but there are executive orders talking about the use of fringes on flags, especially the presidential flag. So if there's not one exactly mentioning this, then why is it being used? I'll tell you why when we get down to the bottom. Okay, so going on. So nor is there any indication that any symbolism. So they're saying, yeah, there's nothing behind it. Was ever assigned with it. I'll tell you why when we get down to the bottom. The use of fringe is optional, but yet they use it with the person or organization displaying the flag. This is true. You can wear, Satan's flag or, NAZI flag if you want. If you don't know what it means, you're just using it. So now here, mind you, let's look at the dates. So 1925 is when this attorney general's opinion back in 1925. Well, 1925, that was almost 100 years later. You weren't there when they started using this flag to understand what it really means. But it's funny how my scoutmaster knew what it meant. So, but once again, if you're the attorney general, though you are supposed to protect America, you are also in the belly of the beast. So either you know or you don't know. So I cannot go by your opinion. Now, this section right here doesn't look like it's an official code that this is a Supreme Court opinion because it doesn't follow the standard layout for it. So I can't even say that this is in the Supreme Court. It just says 34 opinion, Attorney General. Okay, so this is not in the Supreme Court, which is America. But his opinion, and we'll just say, it doesn't say even court opinion or Supreme Court opinion. So this is just his opinion, his thoughts, written in general something and, section or page 483. The fringe does not appear to be regarded as an integral part of the flag. We already read all that up top here. So it's a copy of that. An external fringe is to be distinguished from letters, words, or emblematic designs printed or superimposed upon the body of the flag itself. Under the law, such additions might be open to objection as unauthorized. So here he's saying, under the law, so what he's saying here is that under the law, this could be looked at as an objection. You could have an objection to this. There's something going on. He's telling you there's something going on here that maybe this should be unauthorized, or you should have an objection to it. But then he goes on to say, but the same is not necessarily true of the fringe. So he's drawing your attention to it, but then he's saying, key words here. This doesn't mean not, but he says not necessarily. You see how they talk? Bro, either say it's true or it's not true. So what you're saying is you don't know. He's drawing your attention to say that under the law, such additions might be open to objection as unauthorized. If it's authorized, then there has to be a legal code for it. An executive order with absolute proof. You can't have things that are ambiguous. not by law. You cannot do it. So he's saying, but the same is not necessarily. You can't use this. You cannot do this. You cannot say it's not necessarily. This means that this is gray area. You cannot have gray area in law. It either is or it is not, period. So you see how they hide this information. You see how they, but you know what? We're going to go on a limb here and say they're not hiding it. So check it out. Let's keep going. I told you I'm going to bring this all to you. It is customary to place gold fringe. So customary. Customary is not law. It's not, it's a system of things, events, or occurrences or maneuvers that are done, but they are come from antiquity. This is why they don't know, all these people don't know that the gold fringe, legally they should know this part, that it is a mutilation to the American flag. It is a disrespect. You have gold, you have our American flag entrapped by gold on three sides, three separate entities, essentially. Could that be, this is educational information only, but could each one of those gold sides, could it represent the three major powers? City of London, the Queen of England, and the Vatican? Could that be it? I don't know. I just noticed that those are three. Threes always tend to match. Speculation, of course, but it is customary, which means the things that they do here are so old, like the use of the all capitalized format typography, your name in all capitalized letters, except for we now know that in their internal law books, for the writers of it, the internal party, they said that the legal entity by law has to be made conspicuous. So they raised the lettering of it. So here they're saying it is customary. So once again, in antiquity, they used to do this back in 1835 and probably older to fringe a flag. Well, what we would need to do is to find out who first infringed flags or infringed things. I will tell you this, some of the most original infringing comes from the ancient Phoenicians and other tribes in the Bible. But it's not exclusive to one nation or a people, but somebody is infringing things in gold around the world. Some things are infringed in silver. So let's move on. So it is customary to place gold fringe on silken, rayon, silk, nylon national flags. That are carried in parades. I'm going to bring you some, this is going to make sense in a minute. Used in official ceremonies. So notice something. It says carried in parades. This means mobile. Moving. What's mobile and moving? Water. Maritime. Admiralty. Used in official ceremonies. Official means what? Office. Public. Oh, and check it out here. And displayed in offices. There you go. Now, they try to hide it merely to enhance the beauty of the flag. The flag is already beautiful. You don't need to enhance something that's already beautiful. My flag, my America. Patriot here. God bless America. If I added something like fringes to the Nike symbol, it becomes a new thing. Now, if I'm Nike and I do it, I can do that because it's mine, I own it. But if I do it and then I use it, like the federal government, United States government, United States corporation, and they're not American, then it becomes something different that they can use that looks so similar to Nike symbol that if you guys seen it somewhere, you guys might say, oh, this must be a new type of Nike. Alter ego. It's almost like infringing the gold flag is like what they do to our given name. The flag has been transmuted. The use of the fringe is not restricted to the federal government. So here it is. So the federal government, the United States Corporation, just like the Federal Reserve is not actually federal. Federal is a private name that's owned, but the Federal Reserve is owned by a family. So the use of the fringe is not restricted to the federal government. So this is their flag. But they're not the only ones who can use it. They don't care if you use their particular corporate flag. Such flags are used and displayed by our armed forces. Once again, back here to the military, veterans, civic, and civilian organizations. Now, once again, they said, oh, wait, hold on, and private individuals. So they're not going to stop you from using it. And if you don't know what it means, then you don't know what it means. That's all there is to it. But from what they're officially publicly saying here, they don't know what it means because they've been using it as it's customary. In 1835, it's lost to antiquity. But the law states that anytime you add something to something that's already in existence, it becomes something new. So they created a new flag and they adopted it. And they either know internally what it really means or it's been completely lost to antiquity. But for some reason, my Boy Scout leader, a former military member, personnel, I don't remember what rank he was, but he knew exactly what it was. Such flags are used and displayed by them. However, it is custom. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go again. Custom, custom, custom. Not to use the fringe on flags displayed from or on stationary flagpoles. Now, why is that? Hold on. Stop the press. If I were to knock over salt and take some and throw over my shoulder, have you ever read that anywhere? No. Why? Because it's been lost to antiquity. Most people today would understand that you are superstitious and you're throwing it over your shoulder, but you've never read that anywhere. That's a custom. Things you do because in this day and age, we know what that means. See what I'm talking about? If I go like this, some of you know what that means. Some of you wouldn't. Well, this is from Bruce Lee. Means you, nice hit. I got something else to teach you. I'm ready to fight. So they're saying that it's customary to not have the fringed flag on stationary flagpoles. Now let's break this down. Here's speculation, observances, my experience, and if you will, legally, we'll call it conjecture, which is not admissible in the legal department, but in the private and for fair use. A flagpole cemented to the ground and bolted represents the geographical and continental United States of America. Real land, tangible, equity. Our land has not been conquered by the people, whoever they might be, who control and operate the gold fringed Jolly Roger, bootleg, de facto, American looking flag. Now, this, of course, is not an attack. These are thoughts. These are from your favorite non-belligerent non-combatants. We're analyzing things here. Okay, open air speculation. We're trying to get to the understanding of this custom that seems to be very specific about it shouldn't be put on flagpoles, but nobody knows what the gold actually means other than it's pretty. That's how it works. Is it pretty? I'm pretty. I'm a pretty man. So that's all I am? Just a pretty man? Or is there something more behind it? So my thoughts is that A flag bolted to the ground is stationary, which represents the real land and not water, maritime, admiralty jurisdiction. They control the water, but they do not control the land. Two separate entities, two separate jurisdictions, two separate types of flags, though nearly identical, alter ego. They have transmuted the American flag from the land to a variant and a version for themselves, operating in maritime jurisdiction for their purposes. Because, when I say this, they just said it's custom to not put it on a stationary flagpole. Think about the symbolisms here. All these people, including the Masons and whatever else, all these fraternities, all these corporations, all of them have colors, symbols, logos, lots of circles, lots of pyramids, lots of things going straight up, transmuting, phallic symbol, the Egyptian needle, pyramids, obelisks. Even at the top of an obelisk, there's a pyramid. So then you notice something that you only see that Admiralty Maritime flag in places like your Article 1 legislative courts. Next time you go to court, look around. You're going to see the fringed flag there. Look at your police officers and whoever else. They've got the gold fringe on their badges. But on those, I do believe that it is on all four sides. So could that be a thing? I never thought about that. Those have the gold fringe on all four sides, but the ones that they hang only have it on three. So I don't know. There could be something there. Apparently right now it eludes me and it's above my pay grade. So if somebody does have concrete information on any of this, feel free to send it to me. I would love to see it. It's probably only going to be found in mouth to mouth and customary, or in some book that's collecting dust by the original legal team, the heads of said legal department for that corporation operating in this jurisdiction. In their minds, but most of them are probably all dead and gone and old and whatever else by now. But it's in their books sitting in some cabinet somewhere, their notes even. And if not, it's because originally they knew what it meant and they decided to let it be a secret. Oh, I mean, let it absolve into antiquity. I mean, let's just make it customary. Now, sure, I know a lot of people are like, oh, come on, Wolf, it's caused for a lot of speculation. That's true. I'm not saying you need to believe it, by no means. I'm just saying, why? Why do they have this custom that nobody talks about? Why this custom is a custom that you can fly it on ships and have it in courtrooms in schools that they own, but not on de jure American land flagpoles bolted to the geographical land? Maybe it's just me. Could be. Could be. I don't know. I only have an IQ of almost 160, but just because you're smart doesn't mean you're intelligent, right? Right. So let's skip back and finish this up real quick, like let you guys get on with your day. So to recap, however, it is custom to not use fringe flags and display them on stationary flagpoles. They are specifically saying this. They are hiding some information. Somebody knows more than what they're printing. How do you know not to put it on a flagpole, but you can put it elsewhere? Okay. And traditionally, the fringe has not been used on internment flags. Okay. So let's look up what internment flags mean. An internment flag, also called a burial flag, is a cotton flag that is 5 feet by 9.5 feet with embroidered stars. It is furnished by the government to drape over the caskets of veterans So wait a minute. Didn't they say before that veterans have flown and used this flag? But then they're saying here that that gold fringe flag had better not be on an interment flag or the burial flag. Why? Why? Oh, I know why. It's because it's a custom. Somebody at some point in time knew exactly why. Somebody out there right now, probably even watching this video, knows exactly why. And either if they want to reach out to me and share that information, that'd be great. But they're doing things for specific reasons. And by law, if you're the government, that needs to be articulated. Now, sure, you can rule against somebody saying, well, you guys are flying that flag off to, follow your rules, just hypothetically. You guys want to rule against that. No, same thing. No, you're wrong. By law, just like Styles manual, you have to provide a clear, articulate meaning for why you're doing those things. And even if you guys want to create something as of today and say that these, by all means, create an article that says in the Styles manual or bylaw or whatever else, officially somewhere, and state that we are not owned and operated by any private families. This is 100% American. It is not a mutilation to the flag. We are not under maritime admiralty jurisdiction. And then your point will then legally be proven. But if you don't do that, then there's cause for speculation. Because to say something is custom is not legal. I could say it's not custom to arrest my friend over here, but you're still trying to arrest him. Hey, you can't arrest him. It's customary that he can't be arrested. Does that make it a thing? Is that can we do that? Is that how it works? Nah, you're gonna be like, nah, Wolf, that's not how it works at all. Well, then by law, according to what I read, if there's something not covered in the law, then it doesn't exist. So your customs don't exist, but you're doing it anyway. And there's a meaning behind it. So that's all. Like I said, guys, we are not here to talk about things we can't prove. But in this case, the lack of information and the fact that they've got key elements that dance around missing information shows that there's something there. But that is as far as we can get. This is what I call hitting a wall. Okay. So, you know what, before we go, let's see if I can find something real quick. I highly doubt it, but because you have to remember, all this would be in their internal lawmakers' books, their private notes, their private things that they're not going to give us access to. They're the ones who, like with quantum grammar, should have a Styles manual. So let's see if there's a Styles book on the flag. Okay, let's do that. Flag Styles manual. So though they talk about it, here's your description right here. 13 alternating red and white stripes represents the original 13 colleges. So do you see how here they have to break down what it is and what it represents? 50 stars on the blue field represent the 50 states. The colors of the flag of America, the American flag, are and only red, white, blue, valor and bravery, purity, innocence, vigilance, perseverance, and justice. I don't see any gold on here. Do you? No. And that's from the USA.gov and the flag section. But this also is not the Styles manual on it. An almanac here has the etiquette, rules, and guidelines of the flag. when to display the flag, dates, hoisting, lowering on a vehicle, flagpole. Once again, doesn't say anything about gold. When not to display it. And do you have questions? Well, here at least the Marine Corps, Semper Fi, do or die. Devil dog, hoorah. They've got a manual on the flag. The Marine flag is seen here, but once again, this is maneuverable. And it is fringed. Looks like it might be gold fringed here, yep. But not the American one. This is about the Marine Corps flag. Think. See, this would be a styles manual. The ensign, the flag, colors. United States flag manual. Okay, let's take a look. I mean, yeah, you can go and talk to historians and whatever else. They're only going to regurgitate what they've been told or what they feel. Okay, so this is why we're trying to find official things in writing. Information provided in this manual has been compiled from the following sources. Right here, boom, told you, Title 4 of the U.S. Code. So apparently there might be some additional information on 36, 38, public laws. Evolution of the flag. Do you see any gold? I don't see any gold. Don't see any gold. Pledge of Allegiance to it. National anthem. Days. Position and display of flag. The flag should never be displayed with union down, except for as a signal of dire distress and instances of extreme danger of life or property. The flag should never touch anything beneath it, such as the ground, floor, water, merchandise. The flag should never be carried flat or horizontal, but always aloof and free, unless you're retiring the flag. No person shall display the flag or any other nation above or in position of superior prominence or honor to the flag of the United States. See, that's what I told you guys. This is all the stuff we learned in Boy Scouts about the flag. Here, another big one that everybody does. This is huge right here, guys. No part of the flag should ever be used as wearing apparel. So even your police officers are in violation if you want to call what they have on their shoulder as a violation. No part of the flag should ever be used as apparel, a costume, athletic uniform. But then it says, okay, however, a flag patch may be affixed to the uniform of military personnel, police, firemen, and members of patriotic organizations. So a patch can be, but not a flag, not the flag, okay? So just to correct that. Must be, okay. But some people are out there wearing it as apparel and all this other stuff. You cannot do that. Should be worn on the left pin, left sleeve of the military. So see even how they talk about this? These are the laws and rules. Flag should not be draped over the hood, top side, back of a vehicle or railroad, boat. Once again, no gold fringes. How it's to be displayed. Yeah, you guys know these are rules. They're laws, code. I'm not seeing any gold fringes on the flag. Okay, now here, let's take a look. So these are patches and pins. Now these patches and pins here have gold around them. Now here's what's interesting. Let's read the word. The following patches and pins are all officially, so office, authorized renditions. This means not the same things, but copies, a variation, a variant of the U.S. flag. Likeness, similarity. But herein, they do not mention anything about the gold. Once again, a patch with gold around the outside. Have staff, funeral. How to fold it, even when they show to fold it. Flag Day, saluting flag. Okay. Here they show the fringe of the presidential flag. And they even talk about it. So here's what's funny. Let's read this. President of the United States. The flag is blue, 4 feet, 4 inches by 5 feet, 6 inches. The coat of arms of the President of the United States is centered on the flag, encircled with 50 white stars and trimmed on 3 edges with a fringe of silver and gold bullion, 2.5 inches wide. Now, why don't they have that for the American flag? There's something going on here. Vice President flag, same thing. Oh, wait, where's the USA flag? I mean, they don't talk about it. Something going on there. right? It's not just me, right? See that, right? That's it. That's it. So once again, just gonna go back and see if there's anything else we missed. They don't talk about it. Let's see here. All it says is honorable enrichment. Now, knowing how they have wordplay, I would go as far as to argue what is their legal definition of honorable enrichment? Who owns it? Where did it come from? It says typically you'll find the American flags with the gold fringe displayed by the U.S. Army. So why then is the fringe flag in the courts? Because it's a military tribunal of the U.S. corporation, an extension thereof. And it says other branches of the military. So if it's a military flag, what's it doing in our courtrooms? That's the courts under military maritime jurisdiction. I wonder if the Supreme Court flies the gold fringed flag or the non-fringed flag. All right, so let's pop this back up on screen here. Let's take a look.
Well, no, it's the funniest kind of mix-up, Your Honor.
Just one moment. Mr. Gribble, remove your hat in my courtroom. I do not recognize the authority of a court that hangs the gold fringed flag. A flag with gilded edges is the flag of an admiralty court. An admiralty court signifies a naval court-martial. I cannot be court-martialed twice. That is all. Furthermore, bailiff, gag him. This must be.
So it's kind of funny how, though Gribble is looked at as the conspiracy theorist, why would that make it on there? All right, just interesting, right? Interesting nonetheless. All right, let's get back to it. By the way, that is fair use. All right, I don't want them contacting me, use your content. It's only 30 seconds. Fair use, public domain. So gold fringe American flags are designed for use by U.S. military. Bam. Okay. According to Army, so once again, military, maritime regulations 8410. Didn't they say they didn't know what? Oh, let's go take a look. According to Army Regulations 840-10, American flags with gold fringe should only be displayed indoors and for ceremonial use. So there it is. That article we first started with said they didn't know why. I was just, so see, if you keep digging, you can start to find more and more, but it's in antiquity. It's old customs. Army Regulation 840-10. These are only to be displayed indoors and for ceremonial use. But still yet, why only indoors? For official purposes and ceremonial use. Let's probably look up the definition of ceremonial or ceremony. But anyway, this makes sense according to that the gold fringe is typically susceptible to weather. Well, the gold fringe would probably last longer in weather than a regular one. The regular ones tatter on the end, making them almost like, they're fringed. Okay, so they're basically saying kind of the opposite, but okay. It's simply decorative addition to the American flag. It doesn't change the American flag's actual design. Yes, it does. You're adding on to it. So you're saying that we'll just use a woman. So if you remove a woman's hair and that's how she normally looks, and then you let her grow out her hair or you give her a wig, that doesn't change her look or her attitude, her confidence for some people? Yeah, I think so. So even though we made it a little bit closer by finding Army Regulation 840-10, once again, before they were just saying, oh, it's just an honorary enrichment. But now we see that it is a military flag and it should be only used indoor by military. Boom. So see how you have to dig for the information, how they kind of these things get lost. So when you guys are asking me about how I move, how I get this information, I'm showing you how I study. So this Army regulation apparently was originally, this publication was done in 2020. And look, all right, let's go here to the, oh my goodness. This is going to take a minute to download. It must be pretty big. Okay, so we're just going to let that download for a moment because thanks AT&T for a very slow internet because I can't get fiber here at my house. Because I live apparently at the end of the line and near an airport. Yay. And they don't want to spend the money to get the licensing to put over here, but yet people in the hood and crackheads and whatever else got fiber. I can't get fiber. So I would have to move to get fiber apparently. Though, shameless promotion for T-Mobile, they are my secondary option that I have available and it moves faster. So I suppose I could just jump over to that one. But I'm currently on my wired. Okay, finally done. Open file. All right, now obviously I'm not going to waste your guys' life moments on going through the whole thing. So we're just going to kind of skim and see if we can find something. And if not, well, we will call it a day, or in this case, a night. Okay, table of contents, all the chapters, figures. They're gonna let me search. It's like chapter 5 might be the one. So let's just go there real quick. Nope. Okay, so it should be in compliance with Title 4 of the United States Code. So the enrichment, honorable enrichment, is not in compliance with the Title 4 code. Check this out. Only one flag of the United States will be flown at one time at any continental United States. Continental means the land. The real American flag by the Title 4. Indoor flags must go by one of these two sizes. So look, they have all this stuff down here, guys. Like I said, they don't do anything. All these people, oh, Wolf, this doesn't mean anything. Yeah, they have to have all this written down. This is how anal they have to be by law. But here, the United States Army flag has the fringe on it, and they talk about it. This also represents the ceremonial flag. Doesn't mention the jurisdiction, and it doesn't say continental here because that's actually operating in a different capacity. That's why. So the gold fringes represent a different capacity. Either official, indoor, maritime, or ceremonial. Ceremonial means essentially what? Not what? At rest or something? Here, they talk about it trimmed with yellow fringe. They have to talk about it. So why don't they talk about the version with the American flag on it, with the fringes there? You got the president's flag again, or similar. All these fringed flags. but yet none of them officially state. They talk about the, see here, even the fringe is white, but they don't talk about why the fringe. So obviously I'm not going to find it anywhere in here. As to why, because even though they're talking about this, this is not a styles manual. This is not, see, a styles manual is the quantum syntax or the quantum mechanics of why that color, why that fringe, why that length. You know what I mean? Well, we definitely dug farther than most people have gotten, but yeah. Styles manual, internal U.S. flag creation, fringes. Okay. Displaying of the flag, respect to the flag, national anthem. So here they kind of talk about codification of customs and rules. So much like the legal name, there's some gray area because a lot of it comes from antiquity. We looked up the code. And it doesn't speak of the use of the fringe on it whatsoever. So that's as far as we can get, guys. Cannot dig up anything more than that without having some internal books. And I'm pretty sure they don't want me to have any of their internal books. So there might be some old original book on some shelf out there in some library, you know, somewhere out there, just like we know that there's some 13th and 14th original amendments out there in some of the various hidden places. Keep them hidden and keep them well. Though if you guys do have those, you should really make them available. I'm pretty sure you can find the original like 13th amendment and all that stuff for those who know what I'm talking about. That's it. That's it. I've dug as deep as I can go on that. And so the ultimate conclusion to people's argument on the flag being maritime or admiralty is, in fact, that it is military. It is a custom lost in antiquity. It is an enrichment. It is under Army Code 840-10, did they say? And it is only to be used indoor for official or office use. Office means corporate. It is not to be used outside on stationary, specifically, they said stationary flagpoles, which represent the continental United States or geographical. So we know that there's two different jurisdictions here going on. There's a public, there's a private, there's America, and then there's the corporation. There you have it. So that's it, guys. Hopefully that answered all the questions people asked about that. That's as far as we can go. But you have to vet your own information and make up your own determination. All I know is it's kind of interesting that They don't like it when you ask questions about that in the court. And it does not comply with the, by appearance, the code behind Title IV American flag. Nor does it mention anything about the fringes anywhere in the code. And that means that even though they want to call it an enrichment, then that's not a legal U.S. flag. Legally, it's not. If it doesn't talk about it in the code for open viewing, which everything that the government does is supposed to be open to open viewing and able to be read in a code manual or a styles manual on it, and it is not, then you have something else. That's all I will say about that. All right, guys, that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed your educational moment with the wolf. I will talk to you guys later. Have a great night and a great day. Peace. God bless America.